Okay, I'm in. This is it, episode 57, and I'm just excited because why? Well, because I've brought on not just somebody you may have seen before, but somebody who I know, who I've known for many years. We've had adventures together, and I'm excited to not only get to know more about him, but to find out what he's been up to as of recently. Now, as of recently, I have been seeing him in a commercial that is on YouTube. And before we go any further, I'm going to start the show by showing you his reel. So let's do that. Let's have some fun.
I would like something strong and fruity.
Your drink is ready.
There's nothing grander than a nice cocktail to kick off the weekend.
But Elliot, it's Tuesday.
Rather. Okay, Mrs. Jones, we're going to take care of you. We're prepared to offer you $1,500.
What? I can barely move.
Come on, $1,500 should be enough to shut her up.
I'm calling Big Al.
She's calling attorney Big Al.
Don't let the insurance company take you for a ride.
Things weren't always this easy around here. For someone like me who takes safety pretty seriously.
Hey, Ben, what's going on?
I've been trying to fall asleep for hours. Nothing seems to work.
It's all going to be okay.
A simple miscommunication is not a big deal, unless it causes Rob's fiance's car to navigate to upstate New York instead of downtown Manhattan on their wedding day.
At 6 million skalin? No way!
Your CEO's reaction to the speed of cloud-native application development may look like this.
Are you a serial plant killer? Our plants water themselves. Just you lost your scurvy landlubber.
This is Dan. Dan just invited Lisa over for a romantic home-cooked dinner. Wait, no he didn't. Dan doesn't know how to cook. Easy chef. Tastes like home.
Now that sounds visionary.
Going public.
We're 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 going public. We're going public. I can't.
Has your big IPO moment arrived?
Game of Thrones slots is just awesome. Not only can you spin and win through all of the rooms, you can fight the White Walkers. And
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm a contact center workforce manager at Best Bank. With CX1 WEM, I now have precise AI-based planning and forecasts that enable accurate scheduling and options to empower agents and reduce burnout.
since I started using Osu, it's like someone's doing all the hard work for me. I get paid by my clients instantly. See? Start taking care of your business.
Ludum incantorium fonis mobilis. You may remove your blindfolds.
What happens now?
Now we make even more money playing the game.
Stop right there. We are a bank and we got to invest in our future. We got to give our customers personalized banking experiences. Carol?
I mean, yeah, but this could take time.
What if we could anticipate their needs? I would call it prophetic banking. Check that with compliance. Let's grab some market share. Who's with me?
Why won't you let me in?
Sorry, piano players only.
Hello?
Cisco and Juniper announced that they're expecting a chip shortage. We're gonna up the price on those routers. Guess what? You have no other choice.
Hello?
You don't want to get stuck with no hardware now, do you, Dean?
Who is this? What do you want from me?
Oh. Oh my goodness, that was so good. Elliott Leigh is Elliott Leigh is amazing. He does a bunch of stuff, not just acting, by the way. So I want to bring him on stage. We're going to bring him on now so that we can start this whole episode. Episode 57 is going to be amazing. So watch as we go. Here we go. Let's bring him in. Elliott Leigh, how are we doing today, my friend? What's up, man? Yeah, dude. How are you?
Welcome to the
So
magic
good.
of Paul Carpenter.
I love you, bro.
Worlds that he opens to the universe, the dimensions.
I love you, man. How are you?
It's been a minute, isn't it? We met.
You've been doing. Yeah.
We met 2012, knocking around Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
And,
yeah, we did.
And we've still, even though we haven't spoken that much, it might have been a few years just flown by. And then we're like, oh yeah, Paul, how you doing? It's always there's still that.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, no, I think that's it's something that I try to carry with me as much as possible and give to as many people as possible, is like to try and give the most authentic version, you know? And I think that's what I try to do here as well. I'm trying to just give my most authentic version of myself. You know, just, you know. But look, this is about you.
Maybe just want to cuddle.
Yeah, a little. Sometimes I just need a cuddle. That's right. Hey, Elliott Leigh Tucker, this is episode 57. I like to start off the episodes like this. I like to say, hey, Elliott Leigh Tucker, who are you? Where do you come from? And what are you about? We would love to know. So fill us in.
Well, originally born and bred northwest London, England. I grew up as a young Jew in the sort of Jewish suburbs of that area, but I didn't have much Jewish schooling, so a lot of that stuff came in later, like an awakening of my Yiddishkeit and my spirituality and my connection to mysticism. So a lot of that came in. But I grew up really always wanting to be creative, and there was always a bit of a battle because it was like a perception of, well, what is that? Because, you know, Jewish kids should have a profession, you know, like a doctor, lawyer, accountant sort of thing. So you always fight against that sort of oppression. So eventually it sort of burst out of me around 2004. I had like an episode where I like had this awakening. And it was like some kind of quasi-mystical experience. And that's when this art just like burst out. I was already doing it obviously since I was a kid, but suddenly I was painting and I was performing and I started getting into video production and filmmaking, and it all just sort of happened from there. And this tidal wave has just gone on. You know, I went freelance, and I've just been an artist, a little bit similar to you, Paul. Bit of a maverick, bit of a hustler. You know, you're always moving all the plates around and spinning different things. You know, so
yeah.
So we I think we relate on some of that vibe.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
All the visual arts. So painting, graffiti, graphics, writing, performance, acting, mime, clowning, theatre, cinema, and yeah, like all the improv, all of those sort of visual performative arts. I don't play music, but I love music, obviously. But I do the visual things, the visual creations.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember when we met that you grabbed a camera and you shot a video of me doing magic all over Jerusalem in front of Damascus Gate. When there was that new mall, what was that mall called? Because I think we filmed some stuff there as well. And
there was Mamilla.
Yeah, Mamilla Mall. Yeah, and then we also, as we man, I remember we did a bit where there was a trash can, and we did the restored can, and it was somewhere.
Yeah,
that was somewhere.
There was also we were by Machane Yehuda, the shop.
Yeah, that's where it was. Yeah.
You did your
my straight jacket. Yes,
you know, it is your straight jacket, so you probably would know how to get out of it, like if you've done it quite a few times. But still, the audience loved it. You know, you're like this, and then you get out, and you're like, ta-da! You know?
It was great. It was a great time. I enjoyed.
We had like a whole mob of people around us, but the main one was when we were in Damascus Gate, right on one of the entrances to the old city, and there was just about 100 Arab kids around us watching you perform magic. That was magical, because that was just
let me see. Let me see if I can find it for us. I think because I know it's on my
check your message, your Facebook message. I just sent you the
did you send it to me there? Really? The video?
Yeah, play the first video.
Oh, no way. Hold on. This is gonna be great. I can't wait. But what I was saying is I know it's somewhere on my website. Like, I have this really crappy website that I've had for years, like a Wix website, like one of these. And yeah, man, I've had this thing for years. And I think somewhere at the end of the video here is your video that you're talking about.
I made it into your highlights reel.
100%. I think there's a couple parts of that where even the bit where I cut my arm. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember where I cut my arm with the fake knife?
We did it in Damascus Gate, and some of the kids, they'd never seen anything quite like that before. And there was one.
Yeah, no, this is great.
That followed us all through the old city, wanting to see more tricks.
Yep. I remember this. I remember this vividly. Let's get this on a full screen here. Let's see if we can. We'll fast forward this a bit. Oh, I remember this when we were doing magic for the guys, and I was blowing. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, go in a bit deeper.
It's back in here. I believe this is the part you're talking about.
Just off that one where you had the balls and stuff. That one was the main. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, and there is a ton. I remember there being a ton of kids there. You know, I didn't know this video existed, Elliot, that you had it on your website, on your YouTube.
How many magic shows they get to see.
That's so great. I totally remember this. I wish we had like more of or what we do. You can kind of see. Oh, here you go. Here we go. Oh, you know what? This is much better if we just go from here. I'll kill the audio here, but you could see how the crowd started forming, and then I did a straitjacket escape for everybody.
Yeah.
And then the crowd started getting much larger.
Yeah, it got it. Yeah, it got a bit crazy.
It got pretty crazy.
There's a guy in a straitjacket riding around outside Damascus
Right
Gate. Like,
outside
if
of
you were doing that
Damascus
today,
Gate.
you'd be at
That'll
risk
do
of getting
it.
shot.
That will do it. What can I tell you, my friend? So, okay. So that was 2012. No, was that when was that? That was 2020? No. You said 2001?
No, 2000. It was there or thereabouts. Like, it would have been, yeah. Like, I think you came back another stint, and because I knew you were coming, so I was like aware of what to do. So it might have been 2013, 2014. I can't really remember, but
Right.
it was around then.
So that was you were already in your kick of doing the art thing and already kind of changing your life, if you will, from having this normal, what you thought was going to be a normal life, to this artistic life that you're living. That had already happened. You said that you, like 2004, I think is what you mentioned.
Yeah, I had some kind of awakening.
Yeah, what do you
wanted
feel?
to do it. I was always doing the arts, I was doing plays, and I was drawing and painting, and I was doing a lot of stuff on like youth camps
Mhm.
with the youth groups and stuff. So I was always loving all of that. So I took a lot of those experiences into, like, I was doing youth work early on, and that was like my creative outlet. And then it became doing community videos for clients. And then there was this awakening that I could really just manifest this into my life, like not to be afraid and to sort of step through that barrier of fear.
Were you able to were you able to find a way to create like your own economy, like your own form of money, and then that's what kind of helped you?
Yeah, early on it was making videos. Like, back then we didn't call it content creation, but it was that, and making videos for clients. I had a lot of clients in the community and interesting projects and social action projects, and then we got funding from like local municipalities for projects and other like sort of support networks. So I was doing a lot of, because I took the youth work into like the filmmaking. I had some friends that were experienced documentary filmmakers who did some films in, like, they got them in Sundance. They did a film called Black Gold about all the coffee in Ethiopia, all the coffee manipulation of the markets in Ethiopia. So they had a background in doing documentary films, and they helped set me up. But I managed to get a Mac from my cousin, and I was doing video editing, and I taught myself. So I started doing videos for clients. So that, and I've kept on always doing filmmaking, and I was able to do content creation. So that's always been a constant. But now, more recent years, well, still from like 2014, 2015 onwards, then I got more into the act. So there was also the acting now has come in. Especially been doing a lot of commercials, some TV, some indie movies, but then also there was the painting and the workshops as well. So that was always a constant as well. So I just brought in these different creative strands that just kept me going, kept me alive.
And that's what you're still doing to this day. Like,
Yeah. But
basically,
how to upscale it is the big question. So trying to upscale it up like big time levels is, like, I think it's a question of where you put yourself in the world, if you're within those networks, plus having meaningful content and the capability to evolve that, to manifest that, and talent, and the will to succeed. So you've got to be more and more disciplined. You can't be too messy and too, like, doing too many things. Like, being able to, like, focus in on your main strand. So that's like the process now, to really try and upscale it into a bigger level, rather than just to sort of keep the wheels moving, like trying to launch certain things on a bigger level. And I think that takes, I'm trying to like really clean myself spiritually, mentally, psychologically, psychically, in order to get to that level as well. So I have certain spiritual practices that I do to try and help me. That's an ongoing sort of self-work.
Sure, of course. Yeah. So, but let's get back to where you were saying scaling. When you say scaling, are you talking about like what of the four things are you talking about wanting to scale?
So
Is it
for
your
example,
acting,
I've just
or
shot
is it?
in the last year, I've shot a teaser trailer, an extended number of scenes of a horror movie set in Tel Aviv. It's got a bit of black comedy in it as well. I've got enough that I haven't edited it yet. We've shot it. I had a really good young lead actress named Shira Sinai. She's really been really good. And then other actors, other cinematographers, other people helped. And we just planned each shoot like every month or every other month. So I've
Right.
got like a whole massive material and I've got it all now. And I've got all the pieces and I just need to start to sew them together. So it's my editing skills. It's too hard to sort of expect another editor to be able to do it and to manifest that vision, plus to have the budget to pay them. So I'm going to work on that, and hopefully that teaser trailer will be used to facilitate a greater sort of connections and networking. You know, we were discussing about Cannes Film Festival, but that would be like down the line, whether we could get it for the one in spring next year or whenever it is in the future. So that would be one. That's one plan. Plus, to keep pulling away with the acting and to try and upscale that, like to sort of say, well, this is my worth, and to try and also write with other partners and to try and get some other formats going as well on that.
I wanted to show you this gentleman. I'm going to share this with you really quickly because this guy is doing a lot of like really big projects, like stupid big projects. But he's doing it like in this very smart way where he's kind of like he'll do like he did like this was a project that he did where you can see like that big mandala that he created. Oh, you can't see it. It's not showing up actually. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so he did this light thing, and then he did another one. And then he did a really big mural, which was a very big piece that was in Galveston. And it's, I believe, this piece right here. So this massive mural that he did with him and four other or five other painters. And they created a piece for what is called Juneteenth in the United States, which is the day that we celebrate that the slaves actually found out that they were free. It was 2 years after, but it was the day of. And it was actually on these steps where this was painted that he actually painted the mural, which is very cool. Now, the really cool part about all of this is that he was able to get sponsors for everything. And he gets major sponsors from major banks to do these awesome, huge projects. And so I was trying to.
Team? There's
yeah, I mean, well, it all depends on, you know, but this is his website here, and obviously this is the piece that he shows because this is the piece that really pushed him over the edge. Yeah, it's a massive piece. And then he did this other piece like this, and with all these little beads and everything in it, and these beautiful mandalas. And then, like I said, he did this other outdoor piece recently, which was with the lights, which is this labyrinth. So and he created these labyrinths, different ones, different styles, but this one was a light journey version, and so on and so forth. So he's been creating these, and been getting these massive amounts of people that are willing to have these things made, and then they get these things sponsored in some way, shape, or form, like through a bank or through this or through the other or through some community organization, and ends up paying well above and beyond what it is. Plus, most times than not, he's able to get people to come in and do volunteer work on the art. So it's a very small.
It looks very inspirational. I definitely
It's
relate to
very
that.
good
I
stuff.
have done, I wouldn't say on that level, but I've done a lot of communal projects where I've got access to funding from different community entities, other different charities, organizations, youth projects, media funds. I've done fundraising, but not quite on that level.
No, and like I said, like I was saying, he only started at this big level 5 years ago, like 6, 7 years ago, maybe. Like it just happened for him. He did this one piece, and he was able to get this one piece done, and then that gave him the foundation to then go to Dunk, and from there he just leveled up, and then every time he wanted to do another project, he involved the community, he involved some kind of bank or some kind of major corporation or whatever it is. They fund the whole thing. They get their name promoted because they're positive, loving, blah, blah, blah for the community. And he gets his thing and they get money. He gets money. Everybody gets money and move on, do the next project and so on and so forth. So it's cool. It's a very good idea, the way that he's using the art to not have to do small art to make money idea on a small level, but do these massive things where you're getting paid like $250,000, $75,000, $50,000 to do one weekend worth of art, a labyrinth with light that's only, it's not going to stay there forever, or 120 some odd $1,000 to put in brick laid labyrinth that he'll create, and then so on and so forth.
I think you've got to have some really good community networks. I always found with launching some of those projects, you've got to work with people that are really embedded in a meaningful way in the community. And I did find niches, especially more in the UK. Around there, I worked a lot with young offenders, young people involved in crime and rehabilitation from crime, young people at risk of gangs, vulnerable young people in psychiatric units. So there was actually quite a lot of significant funding for projects to support those and to do creative projects. I actually had a niche for quite a period of time. I ended up getting a grant from Heritage Lottery Funds, Young Roots program. That was in close to 2012. I did a project called Tribal. I got around $50,000 from them, and I did it all myself. I produced it all myself and put all the pieces in place, all the different players, youth organisations, and other media people. And then we had an event in Bishopsgate Institute, where we screened all the movies from these young people, where they interviewed elder boxers from the East End of London, and we charted the history of the East End in different areas and community areas. We interviewed lots of people from the community. It was an amazing project, and it was this eclectic mix of all different characters and media, and we also had this little fair where everyone brought all of their boxing memorabilia and bits of different foods, and we had different other trinkets. They were had a little stall. So we had the event with the screening, and we had demos. We had this old boxer showing how to throw shots, and he used to do a bit of boxing booth fighting. He was a bit of a character called Lou Lazar, and then we had all these stalls as well with all the videos. So it was just an amazing eclectic communal event. It was an amazing model for how to bring young and old together and different ethnic groups together as well, all under one roof. So I was very proud of that project. And
why didn't you keep that
just not quite on that scale? But you can also do the mosaic pieces. It's nice to do the mega projects, but then you end up having to like carry this huge beast. It's also nice. I like doing, you know, the $5,000 project or the $10,000 one where you know you got like a set thing and you can sort of manage it yourself with a small team. So those are also valid if you're doing good work in the community and people get to see it and relate to it.
100%. I wasn't negating it. I was just giving you because you said you were wanting to level up, and this is what he had done to level up, and so I was just showing you a technique.
Level up artistically, communally. You know, you gotta see, you know, because you can't worry too much about the budgets when you're working communally, because it's about really giving to the grassroots and connecting.
Yeah, I think you might have misunderstood the way that
get too carried away with the budgets, and there can be
I think you might have misunderstood on the way that he's doing it. He's using the budget to not necessarily use it for the event, if you will, but to fund the creation of what he's building, like the entirety of what he's building. So he has like a location also at that same building that he rented out, which is now for children's events, for the creation of the mandalas, for people to come and create their own art, to also have vendor spaces. So he's doing an entire thing for the community. It's not just you see what I'm saying? Like so that creates the foundation.
I saw a movie project some time ago. I can't remember, but I'd love to do like a movie project, go into a community and get a lot of the local talent to take different roles in the production of a movie in front of the camera and behind camera, and to get a budget and to sort of create a narrative and work with everyone. Like, you know, you're just like sort of building this like entity, like a sort of ship, and everyone's got a role in to get it moving forward. That I've always had that sort of dream that I'd like to go around the world and do some of those projects, because I've done them on a smaller level with like maybe 20 or 30 individuals or, you know, participants, but like maybe to like upscale on that way with like, you know, several hundred people, like it's a full on or maybe more like full on production, and to sort of produce that, you know, I have always wanted to do that, and I have had my own training in that I've done a lot of those projects. I don't think it makes a difference if you can do the smaller projects, then you can do the bigger projects, as long as you've got enough experience and you know how to handle difficult situations, then you can pretty much deliver anything, as long as you've got good people around you that are supportive. So it's interesting that you relate into that communal thing as well, and you know that is part of being an artist, because a lot of people in the past used to think, oh well, like teaching and all that is separate from being an artist, but nowadays it's a lot more integrated and immersive, and people want experiential things. They don't just want to go and look at something, they want to be part of it. They want to we want to all be on the journey. So there's a lot of, like, for example, promenade theatre nowadays. They get like a warehouse and you go from room to room and there's characters like interacting with you, and that's the play. It's not just necessarily sitting in an audience looking at the stage. Obviously that still goes on, but it's everything's evolving. There's all within the digital effects and VR and all of that. It's all, you know, it's also changing with all of that. It's a lot more immersive. The kids want to get involved and make stuff and you know, and jump around. They don't just want to. I don't think they just want to watch it. And the same with the gallery. You know, more and more there's like installations where people are going like in and around through them as well. Like a lot of the artists that are really producing a lot of stuff around the world.
Yeah, like the Wolf Team or whatever they're called. The Meta Wolf or Maya Wolf or whatever it is, that they have a bunch of locations now all over the world. It became a brand in and of itself. And this is, I mean, we're talking 1970s. This was an idea that was done where you would take over these massive spaces. And there's another person, not only Andy Warhol, but there was this character's name's Josh Harris, who I hope to have on. They made a movie about him called We Live in Public. And he would have crazy, weird events where he would do this. It was actually really cool for an intro, to get into the event. He had see-through plastic, what looked like almost trash bags, but he made them look like balloons, and and then they had lights, like strobe lights and all kinds of crazy on the other side. So, and it was all filled with air, and you would have to push through the wall, like almost like you're going through like intestines, almost like kind of idea, before you got to the party, and then it would open up and it would have like these ribbons coming down and just like full on blown out ideas, you know, which are very much like the ideas of what people are doing now as a $25 pay to go in, you know, experience. There's a Japanese artist that's doing it. That's phenomenal at it though. I believe the name of his piece was called Senses, or and it's quite beautiful. So at one point you have to walk through water. There's an entire room where he's using the reflection of the water itself, and then he has projectors coming from above down, and he's projecting fish, koi fish, into the water. And they're set up to where the koi are interactive with you, so they know where you're standing and they swim around you, and they won't, like, they'll come near you but they won't touch you, and it's very, very cool. I don't know if you've seen him before, if you know who I'm talking about.
I think so. The only thing that I've really moved away from though is also like not getting too caught up in overly aesthetic environments. You know, I love beautiful aesthetics, but a lot of it starts from within. And I try and always start sessions when I work with participants or students, or just I'm a facilitator, where I do an inner visualization with people, and we create from there. So you don't actually need all of the heavy technicalities and all the, like, I'm almost like sometimes don't want to go there. Like there's something about just the minimalism, or just like the self, like going through the self, the collective self with a group, and going inside in a deep introspective visual journey, and then bring that from out inside to the external and creating.
So I think this is very much in the vibe of what you're talking about right now. Have you've heard of Yayoi Kusama, a Japanese artist? I'm telling you, man, this is very much like she did. I don't know if you've seen this before, but it's called the Infinity Mirror Room, and it's this absolute just. Let me see if I can bring it up.
I think I've seen
Man, she is an absolute goddess for creating stuff like this. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about that she's making, which is, it's otherworldly. Let's see if I can zoom. She does these, and this was obviously a CBS Morning on her, but these are her rooms, like these scapes. I don't know. Oh, well, you're not seeing it, are you? Let me share this. Oh, there we go. She does these scapes, these just awesome spaces. Here, let me go back a bit.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
And then here's another. Then she did a dot room, where she did like where she just gave people stickers, and they just walk into a white room, and then just allow people to put stickers wherever they want. And that in itself just becomes its own piece of art over time. I mean, I wish I had more that I could show you. Yeah, but here's like, this is the room right here, the Looking Glass, which is just this room where you walk in and it looks like you're in almost like what, space or something. Or let's see if we can get a good visual of that. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, she's doing, when you like talk, when she talks and when she talks about the art itself, she's very much in the vein of what you're talking about, like trying to find the root to a certain thing, and then only showing that piece of it, and then just, which is like what she's doing with the mirrors, right? So she's just trying to show this one thing over and over and over and over and over again, and then showing the beauty of this one thing.
Also,
and then
where I've been
also,
going a lot with it is the actual experience of creativity and creating is almost
mm,
worth more than obsessing over the final output and having some image of perfection that you've
mhm,
driven yourself mad to create, and it's got some kind of
mm,
value that has to be sold. Actually, the experience, I think that's almost where a lot of it is going, because
mm.
that's what people want more and more. They want the immersive experience, or they want to be part of it. They don't just
Right,
want to be
right.
passive, but actually just creating a beautiful space with nice lighting. Lighting can be quite simple. It can just be where it's placed, and maybe the structure of the space, like things that you've already sort of got that are quite easy to bring. And then just really nice art materials in the right
Mhm.
vibe is just as rich as any
It's a very
experience.
Roscoe
There's,
approach.
in the beginning of the Torah, it's Bereshit bara. In the beginning, create. In the beginning, God
Mm,
created. In the beginning, all of consciousness was in creation and is ongoing, an unfolding creation of infinity. And that's the
mm,
experience we're tapping into. That's the deepest spiritual experience of freedom, of enlightenment, of being able to really just go with your flow, go with your mind, open up your mind, and just to scribble and just to keep doodling and just bring that into some kind of artwork or writing, whatever. That's what people love. And so I did a book called The Palace of Healing. All the workshops I do is called The Palace of Healing. That is the palace, and I've done them in all different beautiful places. We just managed to get these amazing places where to do a session sometimes, and it just happens. I work a lot also with black lights. I love all the luminous paints and colors as well.
I remember when we
Sharing.
did this piece. This was in Israel, and this feels very much like what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, that was totally
Uh,
spontaneous. You just said, "Yeah, there's this wall over here. Let's go paint it." So we just rocked
yep,
up one day with a load of paint, and we didn't have a plan. We just hit the wall.
yep, yep, yeah. And this was such an amazing piece in the end. And there's so much going on in it, and it's a great view from the view that we're seeing it now, because you can see the girl here and the Hamsa and the
Some of those that
cat.
was already on there. That face of that sort of feminine figure was actually already on there, and we had something to
Was
work
that?
with. So we didn't like some graffiti artists. They come and they just smear their paint over it, and they say, "Well, this is mine," and then they just do this whole thing, and it's mine, and it's only me. There, we actually worked with what was already on the wall. Like that animal figure on the right was already there,
Right.
and we actually just added to it. We embellished what was already there. We took it to another level.
Yep, I remember. Well, I remember how like freeing it was, in the sense that in the sense of what you're talking about, giving into the moment and just
Yeah.
allowing yourself to be in the moment. I haven't spoken to you in a while, and I remember there was also a woman that you used to know. She was kind of she used to say she was a psychic medium. I don't know if she's still promoting
Yeah,
that, or if
Minka.
she's Minka. Do you still talk to her?
A bit, not as much as I used to, but we did work together, especially exploring dreams. She taught me a method of dream healing using inner
Hmm.
visualization. So it's a lot what I've been talking about. Again,
Right.
it's just can be two people sitting. One person recounts a dream, they re-visualize their dream, they try and re-experience it using their
Hmm.
mental imagery, and then the other person can take them into a gentle trance and guide them to interact with the dream. And you're right, we did do some sessions where we recorded you experiencing that,
Hmm.
um, and you had like a whole conversation with a sort of, I think, a feminine entity in your dream.
I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Experiences,
that was
man.
called the Dream
Fun
Dialogue,
experience.
and she learnt it from a psychoanalyst, psychotherapist called Greg Berth, who learnt it apparently from, it was derived from the Senoid tribes in East Asia, where these tribes were run by their dreams. So the families would all meet over the breakfast, and they would all share the dreams that they had. And then the elders from the families would go to the elders meeting, and then they would bring all the dreams to the elders meeting, and they would amalgamate the dreams, and the most salient dreams that were like resonating with a lot of energy, they would like focus in on them, and they would see if anything would repeat across some of the dreams, and they would collectively discern like the policies of the tribe and when to move, when to make a certain treaty with another group, when to plant crops in this place or that place, and however they wanted to maneuver their lives, they would discern them by the dreams. So it's a great way to maybe bring some parts of humanity together to sort of try and get beyond all of the noise pollution and the visual screens and everything that we have, and actually start to use our dreams to find the deeper truth that's really going on in the deeper subconscious, and to bring that out. So I'm also, a deep believer in that, almost like a type of prophetic reality that you can bring it through art. If you can channel it in the right way with the group, people all creating together. It can be music as well as painting and performance. But there are ways to bring people together in a discordant, unstable world. I'd like to go deeper and find a deeper truth, a deeper collective truth that we can all relate to and dialogue with.
So, have you seen the recent information that's been coming out about AI mixed with MRI scans, fMRI scans?
No,
So it's really interesting. I'll send you the article. It's super interesting. But there's 3 things that have been done that are very cool. So the first thing is they'll put people into a machine, like a full magnetic machine, right? And they can tell where the blood is flowing in the brain. They'll show somebody an image, and they'll record where the blood flows to. And they do this to a couple hundred people. And they do this over and over and over again with a bunch of different images. And then they go to the machine, to the AI, and they don't show it an image. They just show it blood moving from one place of the brain to the other. And they ask it to tell what it is. And the AI comes up with an image that is a giraffe. It's not perfect, but it's a giraffe. The other thing that was being done was people were asked to watch a video and to have a reaction internally, and then afterwards to write down what that reaction was. The video is of a girl getting hit with a rock and falling down to the ground. And everybody wrote the reaction. It's a girl getting hit by a rock, or I got hit by a rock, or it hurt my head, or whatever reaction they're supposed to have from this video that they see. Once again, they don't show the AI any amount of video. They only show it the brain flow information. And the AI responds with, I'm a girl who just got hit by a rock and fell on the floor. So what I'm getting at is that this is what's coming up in the article, is that it's very soon that we would be able to be having people in a room where they would sleep with diodes all over their head, and at the end of the night give you a recorded version of your dreams.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty intense, bro. Like what we're talking about is like another level of weird, but it's like, yeah, that's where we're at, And that just came out.
Entering uncharted territory of humanity, and what is that doing? Why is the world feel so unstable right now? Is it something to do with our confrontation with all of this massive shift of consciousness? Is it to do with social media inciting people? Is it to do with people really absorbing themselves into screens? And what is the role of AI? Are we becoming cyborg? What exactly is going on? That I'm trying to hold on to things that are keeping us human, like dreams, like collective action, social action projects, creativity. For me, I like the idea of purity because I'm finding that everything's just going a bit insane right now.
Yeah, I mean, now here's where I start to, as of recently, I've become very weird. I've become a transhumanist in the sense that I see all the positives that AI could bring us, but at the same time, those positives would not be seen as positives from the point of view that you and I stand at today. They just wouldn't be. Genetic mutation for the betterment of my own body and my own lifelong being. For instance, if I could take something that would be like a mRNA vaccine, which would be coded to my DNA, that specifically then goes in and takes out all of my cancers, all of my Parkinson's, all of my anything. As soon as we start doing that, we're now in the world of eugenics. And as soon as we start doing that, then we start pushing it back against the idea of everything we're talking about right now. But I wonder, because we're going in that direction pretty much no matter what, I do not think technology will stop. I think it's like a virus, almost like we are. And so I feel as though technology will just become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. It'll become nanotechnology. It'll end up becoming like atom-based computers that are inside of our bodies that we will not even have the control over getting to accept or not accept. It'll be in the air kind of thing. I think that once, like in the same way that we create too much clothing in the world today, which is like 300,000 pieces of clothing per person that get thrown away per year, or some weird number. It's some really astronomical number. But in the same way that we produce apps, or in the same way that we produce this, that, or the other, we will start to create robots that create smaller robots, that create nano robots, that create full-on, air style microbial robots. And then at what point does that stop? It doesn't. It just keeps going and going and going and going. And then if this thing has some kind of super intelligence connected to its thing, I believe that it would do everything to run congruently with the machine that it's within. It would do so naturally, in the same way that it would want to stay within the natural cycles of what is, because it would want to basically fix the problems that humanity created along the way. If it is a super intelligent computer, that's what it would want. It would want the betterment for humanity. It would want the longer lastingness of humanity. And so it would manipulate the genes.
So what level would you want to disenfranchise your humanity, where you completely give yourself over to some kind of cyborg self?
Well, no, this is what I'm saying. What happens at the point where we no longer even have that choice? It just becomes a thing where it is like in the same way that plastics and microplastics are in all of our bodies around the world. Like everybody except for indigenous people have microplastics in their body. In the same way that DuPont using non-stick pans, which 90% of the world use, and all of us have some kind of DuPont plastic in our body, or any of those kind of things. In the same exact manner that happened, so will all of these other things that I'm talking about. This idea, like, what do you think the whole concept of COVID was? It was to see if this mRNA vaccine could work, and if they could use Crimea genes or Crimea splitting to create a new antivirus, which is what they did. I don't know if you know how it works or the whole system. It's very beautiful. There's a great YouTube video on it that breaks down how they do it, and what the virus is actually doing, or what the antivirus, or what you would call the mRNA vaccine, is actually doing. So I think that once you get to that level, you're getting to a place where it has so much control. I mean, we're talking 20 years in the future here. We're not talking tomorrow. We're not talking the next day. You know, this is a far flung future conceptual idea I'm throwing out at you. I
Well,
think AI.
This is the canvas for creatives, for writers, for filmmakers. You know, I saw a movie a little while ago called The Demon Seed, which was actually made in the 70s. And I don't think they fully knew what they were expressing. I think it was from a book. It was made into a movie. And it was basically the craziest prediction of AI and surveillance and social media and the internet. But it was done in a very schlocky 70s way. In the end, was the woman was trapped in the house because Proteus, the computer, had trapped her in, and it was chasing her with a robotically controlled wheelchair, and it was like sort of stabbing her and attacking her with this long extending arm thing. It was ridiculous, but she was being like watched by cameras, recorded. You know, the house became
Oh, I'm watching.
lockdown.
I'm watching the. I'm looking at the Google of the back end Google or the search of it, and I totally
It was,
remember this movie
you know, it
from
was
when I was.
insane. And then in the end, this sort of computer brain, it basically inseminates her. That's the demon seed. And the end of the movie, spoiler alert, is basically it gives birth to some kind of like hybrid between human and non-human
Non-human. Yeah, and I mean, and in essence,
AI entity.
I don't know if you know this, but that's very much part of the idea of the Kabbalah and the five wars.
This movie was made about 50 years ago.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm saying you know the five wars that are supposed to happen in the future, like that we're supposed to go through. So the first one is the one that's happening right now, believe it or not, which is the one that's an ideological war based on religious beliefs. The second is another ideological war, which is acceptance or non-acceptance, which is the war that you're talking about, of those who accept technology into their bodies and into their lives on a much darker and harder scale than what we're talking about today. Then the third is when humanity gets scared and fights the robots and tries to take them out, but at that point it's too late. The fourth is when the robots try to destroy humanity. And the last is when the leftover of what is the human race / at that point almost transhuman connects with some kind of weird robotic version that's trying to become human. And a mix of those two is supposedly what is going to create the next race of humanity.
Well,
but I see it. I totally see it.
Around by then. But
oh no, we're talking 250 years. We're talking 250 years in the future.
I'm always trying to relate to a world that still holds something that's sacred, like what is kadosh, what is holy. Is there a deep compassion in the universe? Is there a living God? You know, God is hidden, we cannot see God, but can we still communicate with God? Yes. And is prayer real? Prayer isn't just a thing, oh well, you know, everything's lost, just hope and pray. No, prayer is a real alive thing that we can pray and we can interact with a conscious universe, and we can speak to it and it can speak back to us, and we can ask for things, and if we're true and authentic enough, we can eventually receive them in the right way that it's being received. And so, you know,
so that's my question for you now.
That's my faith, that because the world that you're talking about is a world of darkness, which is an artificiality of a world. It's something that a world that's gone out of control. Is that the real truth of humanity that is going to happen or is happening, or not. It's up to us, you know. It's up to us. It's up to us whether we disenfranchise ourselves enough that even we sell out on every value that we have, and we no longer have any sense of values, and everything is
Well,
just
I see. I don't know.
numbers,
See,
points.
this is where I tend to disagree with that concept. I think that that's a fear-driven based idea. Whereas if you look at it in the sense of it's a light bulb, and in the 1800s, right, or 19 whatever it was, 1890, 1910, I think, when the light bulbs created, people freaked out. People didn't want electricity. Look at Edison. He ran around electrocuting elephants and sheep just to scare people with AC current. I think it's the same thing. Hold on, give me a second, because I'm gonna bear with me. I think that the penultimate is to have a conversation with Creator. That is the penultimate. To be able to do so, in my opinion, I would need to become conscious light. Now, what does that mean? It means that I am somehow or another still alive while still being able to travel at the speed of light. Somehow. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I could, maybe. Just give me a second. Now, if that's the case, the only way I know how to do that is one of two ways. I can meditate for years and years and years and get there, or I can find a way to get there through technology. And it seems as though we're taking the route of technology, not the route of meditation. So that's one. The next is, how much of us is ourselves? So if I put a pacemaker in myself that's helping my heart beat, isn't that technology in my heart? Isn't that in my body? Am I losing my humanity because of that? And so how many pieces do I have to add to myself? This is my question to you now. How many pieces do I add to myself before I'm no longer me? And what makes me me? Now we're getting into a very other conversation, right? Tough. It's a tough cookie. It's a tough cookie to crack, because that's where I'm at right now. This is why I say I'm transhumanist, because I believe in the statement that everything happens as the way God created it and intended it to be at the moment that it's happening, while it's happening, in the moment that it's happening. So if that's the truth, everything is happening the way God intended it to happen. And if that's the case, then I know I'm living inside of a simulation, and I know for a fact I'm supposed to do my damnedest to get out of the simulation, and I'm supposed to try and bring everybody with me out of the simulation. Now, what does out of the simulation mean to me? It means that I will have the ability to create anything I want. Does that make it real? I don't know what real is. None of us has proven reality, and the closer and closer we get to it, we get to a mathematical equation that seems like we're playing inside of a simulation. So I know that my soul, if you will, doesn't feel like some kind of calculation. It feels like it's my own imparted gift. But maybe I'm just having an irrational, emotional, physical thought underneath the massiveness of the 5D or the 7D or the 9D that I have no understanding of. If that makes sense.
To some extent, you want to disenfranchise yourself in the extent that you've developed a lot of these barriers around yourself to sort of say, well, there's this going on, blah, blah, blah. And we all sort of do that to an extent to protect the vulnerable inner child. But I would say, it's all about peeling back the layers of the onion to get to the raw truth of why do we think and behave and say the things that we do. Why is that? And that's an ongoing lesson. It's not to necessarily just be stuck in the process of acting it out, but actually sort of really trying to peel back and discover self. And for me, I've found that there are certain techniques where I feel I'm getting more insight and more things are sort of like colossal things are sort of coming together in a good way. you know, such as you know, finding partnership and sort of really taking ownership over our deep neuroses and even our pathologies, and whatever else has been troubling us for many years, and to like not be afraid of the sort of brokenness that we do confront in the mirror. And for artists, you know, that's rich material. So it's always been
Right.
it's always been
But
there.
go
You
back
know,
to my question for me, Elliot.
Psalm 121 says quite clearly, Hashem Tzalcha, God is your shadow.
Go back to my question for you a little while ago, which is how much technology before we're not ourselves?
I don't know. It's you know, does that mean an implant? Does it mean psychiatric meds? You know, what level is a person immersed? You know, that's like those are fairly common. You know, these
So
days.
this is what I'm asking
And then
you.
what happens
So
when our phone is just like embedded in our eye, and it's just like we blink and we can swipe just through a blink. And I don't know. I don't know how far. You know, Elon Musk is talking about implants into our brain and stuff. You know, what's that going to do for people trying to pass exams? And
well, I mean, right now there's it was just on actually it's, if you want to look it up, it's a YouTube video. It's 60 minutes ideas for the future or something like that. It's everything from like 2010 to like today. And it starts with the father of the cell phone. And it ends up with the guy who has diodes stuck in his head, like these big metal boxes. Like, I'm not even kidding. And they like literally turn them into his head. He's got wires sticking out. And he's been doing research now for like 10 or 15 years, maybe even longer. And he's quadriplegic, but he is doing the research so that when people get this implant, they will still be able to walk even after being quadriplegic. So, and that's Elon Musk's goal.
Medical answer, you know, that's like people's argument for cannabis. Like, yeah, you know, it's got medical benefits and stuff like that, but then that also becomes the gateway for it to be exploited and to be used for other things. So I think we always got to be careful of that. But definitely within your transhumanist sort of outlook, I think there's a lot to discover in a creative project. So if we wanted to work on something, you know, in future, I think that would be a fascinating topic. It's like, what would 20 years down the line look like? What is transhumanism?
Wow. Have you seen? Let me show you one more thing. That
would be a fascinating exploration, just to get a group of interesting people in a room and to open that one up creatively.
I want to show this to you. There's a Japanese artist, another one. He created this. I think this is 9 years ago. And for this to be 9 years ago, and you know, video from 9 years ago, 10 years ago. So to see what this guy created 7 years ago. So this is 7 years ago. And once again, this is pretty heavy, pretty good stuff. This video that this man creates here. Let me hold on. The name of the video is called Hyper Reality. And what he has, and I'll break down through it real quick, but he has this idea of what it's going to be like in the future. So here this woman is playing on her augmented reality glasses or her contact lenses of the future. And she's playing one of these, you know, pop style games. Then she takes a phone call and she starts asking Google questions about herself. And as she's walking down the everywhere, there's ads for everything.
It's pretty good.
I love this right here on the right, where like when you get somewhere, it actually has like all the different cool best places to go. Like that would be cool to have if you had AR glasses on, you know, or even like here on the street, like which way's the right way to walk and the wrong way to walk, and when it's okay to cross the street. Like this is the next scene. It's very cool. It like shows like, look, clear the area, and it shows like these cars because now the traffic's changed. So I mean, that's just cool, man. And then like what it would be like shopping. Now, all of this is great, but then at the same time, this is also a very dystopian. This is a very dystopian story because in the end, what happens is that her whole entire account gets taken over. The mall turns into regular mall with just QR codes, which is what makes all the commercials everywhere. And then all of a sudden it turns back on. And as it does, everything, all the ads start back up and everything starts back up. And then she's asked to go to the main center. And on her way there, someone shows up and punctures her hand and steals her blood. And then before she knows it, the person is now saying, oh, look, your biometrics have been accepted. Okay, we've deleted you now. And she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what to do. And at the very end, what does she do? She goes back to God. And she starts over in this new thing called God, where she levels up. And she becomes a follower of God. And that's the end of the video. Now, it's a disturbing process of where, you know, we may be headed. I think it's only a step in the direction of. That's what I believe. I think that even all of the trauma, drama, death, and craziness that will come in the next 15 years is all based on change that will end up, I truly weirdly believe it'll become utopian and not dystopian. Only because the AI
is going to be, there's going to be polarities, you know. I don't think some of the cities, the urban landscapes are going to necessarily clean themselves up so easily. There's going to be a lot of destitution and mental health issues.
I think so. So this is where I think AI and having personal phones in our pocket and having personal AI bots is going to start to change lives in major ways, like super hardcore major ways. I think, like, imagine, Elliot, I would give you the ability to have 5 of the greatest coaches of your choosing in whatever of the 5 major categories of life there is. Let's say work, health, spirituality, wellness, in the sense of like your food and this, that, the other. And each time that you went to do any one of these things, you had not only that, a robot, which is a Tesla bot that can make everything for you, that can work out for you, that can show you your yoga positions being wrong or whatever else, and then also speak to you in the voice and style of that person. So you can have your own Tony Robbins exciting you every morning to get up and go do whatever you want to go do in life. You could create your own mix of a Tony Robbins Kiyosaki bot. So it's the Tony Kiyo bot. I don't know, you know, and that would be a created bot that you make that other people might enjoy or whatever, and then you sell that bot. In the same way of what ChatGPT is doing with the bot that I was showing you earlier on the website that I created, the more and more people that use it, I get paid for that. So if it gets thousands upon thousands of requests, I'm going to get more and more money because people are requesting information based on that bot. And so the more that you can have people use your bot, the more you get paid. Like any app, like anything else. So I think that's where it's at. It's about creating niche communities, like you're saying, and niche websites and bots that are going to be specific for certain categories or certain kind of use cases. And all of those will end up connecting to one major, badass, huge artificial general intelligence at some point or another, which is what Google is trying to do now with Bard. They're connecting all of the AIs they've made over the last whatever amount of years from all of their different services, and they're basically putting it all into one brain, piece by piece, which is, it's going to have the ability to hear, the ability to talk, the ability to see. And it's doing that now. I don't know if you've seen, like on ChatGPT 4, you can just upload an image and it will tell you exactly what's inside the image. I mean, every single thing. Like, those games you used to play where you used to have to find the photos and it would give you a list of the things to find? You can literally give it that, and in 30 seconds, it gives you every single thing you need to find in that photo from the list that you gave it.
I don't know if I'm a Luddite, if I'm like anti some of it, but I still feel, I'm not sure. There's part of me that is, but I still feel that we will still be able to discern as what is human and what isn't. Like a lot of the AI imagery, I don't like looking at as much as something that a painting that someone has done by hand, where they've really sort of
but what we're looking now,
as opposed to just typing keywords and getting some pretty image out of it at the end. There's still an energy from an original painting that is priceless.
So here comes the next question.
Guernica by Picasso. If you go and stand in front of that painting, huge, beautiful, amazing. It has something AI will never. I don't think they're ever going to be able to replicate.
I massively disagree. So look at what we're looking at today in the last year as being the equivalent of ColecoVision or Atari. That's what we're looking at today. The imagery, the ideology, the infrastructure, all of it. It's very 8-bit information on a level that we in today's world are going, oh, those images aren't that great because they're made by AI or this.
You're only talking about it in a tech language. I'm talking about it in a real human psychological.
No. What I'm trying to say,
experiential journey. Someone that's gone, like someone who writes a book, and they really have poured their heart out in the story, and they've gone through so much like trauma and experiences, and they've come on this journey, and it comes to some kind of resolution. You can't mimic that. It doesn't matter how sophisticated the machine is.
I totally disagree.
Between the machine and the human, then that's a different story. What we've been talking
about. I think there is integration in the sense that it's learning from. So let's break it down. Let's step up 5 years from today. Okay, so we're now 2030. ChatGPT 6 is out, or ChatGPT 5 and 0.5, almost 6 is out. At 5, we're already going to have general intelligence to a pretty good level. When you look at what it takes to be cognizant, as far as we know it, the AI from a non-physical stance, in the sense of I can't move around yet, I don't have a body, has all the abilities it needs at this point right now to, if it had a body and it had the right tools in that body, i.e. these tools, it could walk around the world and learn on its own and have its own experiences and start to build. But prior to that, it would have every book that's ever written, every movie that's ever made, every interview that's ever done. And you're going to tell me that, and also not only that, also have every understanding of psychology, understanding of every neurolinguistic programming, cognitive behavioral techniques, every understanding of everything that we could think of, so that it can analyze anybody and say, okay, what's really happening while they're talking? What's this? What's that? What all these other things that it can calculate within it. It can calculate everything that every person who's ever gone through hard times, who's been on stage, who's talked about it, who's had interviews, who's had podcasts, whatever. And you're going to tell me
knowledge isn't how much you've consumed. It's what you do with the knowledge, and moreover, how authentic and how much one can actually relate to the experience of that, the cascade of thought, speech, and action. You know, that's.
But it all
distinctly
becomes
human.
it becomes a science.
I don't think we're going to get to a perfect place where we can, maybe on screen, on video, but in terms of a reality, I don't think we're going to create a robot which will completely mimic humans to the extent where we would just be able to love a human partner. I'm sure there will be some people in the world that will be happy loving a robot and having a relationship with a robot, but I don't think we're ever in a position. Well, certainly I speak for myself. I don't think I'm gonna fall in love with a robotic entity, which again is an interesting movie idea. I did think of an
It came
idea
out. Did you see Her?
There's been all sorts.
No, but I think the Joaquin Phoenix version was probably the best so far. On the idea of not having to be with the person, not having to actually see the entity in your life, but connect to it on an emotional level through interaction, and it manipulate those interactions without your knowledge, thinking that you're choosing when in reality it's choosing for you. Once again, going back to this idea of it bettering, because in the end, when you watch his life, he's much better in the position that when he started than when he ended with her, where he doesn't want to be with her anymore. A movie called Her, which is a movie, Joaquin Phoenix, I believe, is in it. I could be wrong. I'm going to look it up now, but it's a movie about a guy who's depressed, and he gets an app, and the app is this. Yeah, it's called Her, and I'll show the screen now. You should watch it. It's a phenomenal movie, great acting. Kid's good in it. Kid's good in most of what he does. He's actually in the movie Napoleon right now, from what I understand. But this is it. It's called Her. It was a phenomenal movie. He's dating an AI character. At first, he's very much in the same boat you're in. You know, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure about this. And over time, because she's able to ingratiate herself by helping him with things that he needs or getting things done or whatever it is, over time, he starts to have conversations with her that are deeper, that are more personal. And over time, she starts to become more personal and more connected. And then at one point in the film, and I don't want to give up the whole thing, but at one point in the film, he's like, okay, wait, you're not just talking to me? And the AI answers honestly. Says, no, I'm talking to 4,978,220 other two people. He's like, at the same time while you're talking to me? And she's like, yeah, well, it's easy for me. What are you talking about? Like, that's an average day. What do you know? Like, you know, and he is like, but wait, I thought you were mine. And she's like, well, in your case, I am yours. And only yours, and I believe in only you and all the things that you tell me, and but for the other 43,999.6, whatever it is, I'm theirs as well. And so it breaks. It has this awesome moment where the whole movie breaks, right? Like he breaks, the movie breaks, everything stops, and he's just like, oh. And it's a very, once again, dystopian ideology about what's going to be. I believe, again, that we are headed towards a mix of the two, a very heavy mix of the two. The idea of the metaverse, because people don't understand it. I mean, there's been the metaverse since Second Life, and Second Life is how long? I mean, Second Life was created when? Like 1990 something? You know, like, and it's still around. People have been married in Second Life, had kids in Second Life, like full on, like jobs. They have regular jobs in Second Life. They don't do anything else but live in Second Life. And they've been doing this for years. Let me see when it was created. So Second Life was created in 2003. So we're talking 20 years ago. People were already living in this world. I remember when it first came out. It was absolutely impossible to go there. Can you imagine the internet speeds from 20 years ago? It was always horrible. It was like so, you know, but there's full on people have created full on industries, and then even second, like what you would call second market industries for Second Life. And it's become its own thing. So it's like,
well, what is it about our lives where we are so in a trance with screen light? What is it where we've already gone first step where we've disenfranchised ourselves into screens and all the interactivity and immersion into screens, whether it's like social media or the news stories, videos.
It's very much like Plato's cave.
You know, that's why for me it is valuable to have 25 hours every week where the screen goes off and it's me just with my thoughts, nothing other than that, and sticking to that. And although, you know, come the end of it, I do want to get back on the screen, so it shows how much we are habituated and addicted to these things. And it wasn't like that, you know. I used to, you know, grow up playing video games and stuff like that. I was well into it, but it was never to the extent where it is now. And what is it like for children that just grow up within that, where they're conditioned in that from a young age with an iPad in front of them. Motion.
Here's a real question for you, Elliot. Sorry.
Where, you know, we talk about all of the, like, and I think there will be movements in humanity, and there already are, where people will just put up a barrier and say, look, everything's gone a bit fucked since these things came in, so let's put a real barrier on them. And the Haredi sort of ultra-Orthodox perspective of where, you know, they even burn some of the phone stores in Jerusalem because they're so anti-smartphones, isn't so ridiculous, because it has led to a lot of, I think, discordance and destruction in the world and within ourselves, all the stuff that we've been exposed to. And unfortunately, like things like terrorism and all of that, they play on it, and they play on the psychological effects of that to deepen our entrenchment within it. We're like lost in the movies now, we're lost in the reality, or we don't even know the difference between the two. So
wow, man, you're making me want to bring up another video now, which is so intense. Have you seen, and this is silly, this is so silly that I'm about to show this to you, but have you ever seen this thing that says that Back to the Future predicted 9/11?
I've seen it, yeah. Well, I've seen this.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the only thing that I take out of this video,
conspiracies are all part of it as well.
No, hold on. I don't wait. Hold on.
Everything is a conspiracy.
Hold on. Don't kill the moment. Hold on, don't kill the moment, because this isn't what I'm talking about. It's not the theory about the 9/11 and none of that. No. It's much more deeper and much more beautiful than that. There's this one moment in the film where the guy is talking about the black screen, which is exactly what you're talking about right now. And I think it's towards the end of the film where he starts getting into it. Or is it towards the beginning? Boom, 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 boom. And he shows, like, I think he talks about he shows monkeys. Oh, wait, is it the walk part maybe? Man. Oh, right here. Yep, right here. Right here in the film. Okay. So, at around 12 minutes into this documentary weird thing, and it's talking about taking over the consciousness of humanity and doing it through this monolith and this monolith being the idea of Stanley Kubrick's black monolith that happens in the movie.
Yes, it's like a phone.
And that's what, yes, and this is the point this is what I'm talking about. He talks about this in this film. These exact things that we're talking about, and how the phone itself, and how it talks about the Wizard of Oz, behind the curtain, this whole concept of this monolith, and how this monolith is like feeding us this thing, and that from that thing, it's what we believe. Man, I'm just saying, when you mentioned that, I was like, bro, have you seen this? Because it's totally what you're talking about. And I totally understand what you're saying. And I've talked about this. There's a very good documentary that's called The Century of Self that was with, that's about Edward Bernays. And then I also was talking about recently the connection between Prussia, Germany, and the United States, and the education system that was created here using that system. And they did it only so that they could have workers that wouldn't be intelligent, because they never wanted the American school system to actually be one where you actually learned something. They wanted it to be one where they could create what they did, which is a scholastic movement of financial reciprocity, based on knowledge that I feed to you, that you just memorize, and that you're not really doing anything with. You're not learning the new, unless you're in a very stylized and very what's the word I'm looking for? Like let's say a neurosurgeon or something very, very, very specific based. Then you start to learn about the new things, but only basically right at the end of everything. So everything you learn prior to that, a lot of doctors will say this to you if they're honest with you, that everything they learned in school, they end up not even using, because it's all so old. The information's so old, and that all this information's coming out so quickly and so rapidly that, you know, in essence, they're on old terms, and they're learning new things as they're going, because they have no other choice. And because the system's beat up that way. The system in the last 20 years has been absolutely demolished by corporations. Another great documentary, which is called The College Conspiracy, which shows how the school system pushes towards college to keep people in debt, to then keep them into this new perpetual idea that they will be in debt for the rest of their life and they won't own a home. You know, and that's something that a lot of people in this age are having to deal with. They're graduating college, they're in their mid-30s, they're 40, and they're still in debt to $100,000, degree that they thought was going to give them a job and give them some kind of placement in life. Unfortunately, so a lot of these people also got humanities degrees that may not do them the greatest of help when it comes to an actual placement into a job that's $200,000 a year and plus. For that, you need to be specialized. For that, you need to be an engineer. For that, you need to be whatever. And so a lot of people are in debt and can't get out of it, and they have to have, you know, some other job where they get, it's weird, they'll graduate college and go work for Starbucks because it's you know, they can make more money doing that than whatever they graduated doing. Once again, I feel like the system is one that's made to keep people from living real versions of themselves. And this is going back to what you're talking about, getting to know who you are. Something that I believe you and I did, luckily, at a young age. We found ourselves, and even though it was tremendously hard to deal with the comings and goings of being, I would much rather be a person who is living my own life on my own terms than someone who is caught thinking they're stuck when they're not. Like the person who's like, oh, I have to go to work, or I'm going to be homeless, and I won't be able to do this, I won't be able to do that. And it's that mentality that keeps them stuck within that place, in my opinion.
Well, we're always trapped to some extent. I think it's part of like human nature, unless we're out in some kind of amazing plateau environment, which maybe sometimes people on Instagram are showing off that they are, or we go on a trip there, but yeah, someone made me look at the movies of Roman Polanski today. She was asking me about it, asking me what did I know, and most of his movies are his horror movies, which a lot of his movies are about someone being trapped in a place, whether it's in an apartment or in a situation, forces of manipulation all around them. And he grew up in he escaped the Warsaw Ghetto, he escaped the Holocaust as a kid. His family was sent off to Auschwitz, and he ran off through a hole in the ghetto wall and lived with he was in the woods, and then he lived with a non-Jewish family and survived the war. So obviously had an indelible effect on him. He didn't always handle situations in the right way, things that he went through, and traumas and everything. But how his cinema was almost predictive of some of the darkness that he actually went through, predictive and reflective. And so, that's for me, like, art is that I'm not necessarily aspiring like Roman Polanski, but just, what do we make art for, and what's the point? And that is to always try and be one step ahead of our sort of the challenges of our feelings of limitation, of our self, of our minds, of our sense of soul and being, our purpose. Why do we make art? Is to try and free ourselves from all of these battles and restrictions that we've been talking about. So I don't think in the deepest sense that a robot will be able to, maybe, physically it could replicate it. It could produce a Mona Lisa in the same level of layering and tone and gentle brushwork as a Da Vinci, but it won't have gone through the experiences that a human has, and to still always try and feel those genuine feelings of soul and emotion. And that for me is always a deeper intelligence that we're trying to aspire to. And I try and learn Chassidus almost every day, which is really the nature of Chesed, of compassion and kindness in the world, which is something we all struggle with, and to try and learn how to heal and to self-heal and to heal others through thinking and talking and being together and sharing space together. And it's been a beautiful journey this evening. For me, it's evening time.
It's late for you, I know. Yeah. Dude, Elliot, thank you so much, man, for coming on and hanging out with me even for a little bit. The reason I did this again is because I have so many times where I'll have someone like yourself where I haven't talked to them in forever and a day. And then we end up having a conversation that's 2 or 3 hours long, and it's like, bro, we should have recorded this. I can't believe we didn't talk about it. There's so many things. You know how you do this. You as an artist, you've had that conversation a million times.
There's also loads of references that you pointed at. Like, I definitely want to check out that Joaquin Phoenix movie.
Yeah, man.
And a few other things that you reminded me of, and things as well. So yeah, I appreciated that. There was a lot of content in there. And I like the themes. I did start developing concepts for a project. A friend wanted to do a musical with cyborgs, and he was writing script, and I was doing one of the voices, and then I did helped him do a proposal so we could maybe go and workshop it. And we were thinking about animation or puppets, and now there's AI options. So there's definitely like projects down the line where I think transhuman you know, I was looking up definitions of that not too long ago. So it's definitely a fascinating topic, and you know what the future will hold is really the realm for the artists and the writers and filmmakers and the actors of today, like to try and express that. I think there's such a infinite array of possibilities. Look, it's also assuming that humanity is going to chart on the same course as it's on. You know, we don't really know what's going to happen with climate situation and war and whatnot. So, you know, how these things going to develop, we don't really know. But it's been great to sort of theorize.
For sure, man. Yeah. I will leave you with this, even though I know you're standing where you are. If you had a computer that had the ability to have all of humanity's information and could live a life in 30 seconds, the same life that you live, as complex and as detailed oriented as one you live, and you asked that entity that it created to write a story and to create a painting or to create something from that point of view, from that story that it, I'm going to be hard pressed in the next 5 or 10 years that we're going to be able to tell the difference. I think in the next 5 or 10 years, we're going to start having artists.
Like I said, it's not about just clicking the button and getting the output or typing in the keywords.
Oh, no. And this is what I'm saying.
The process of the creativity is the destination. The journey is the destination. And
okay. So
a robot will never be able to experience that. That's like in Blade Runner, you know what I mean?
I disagree, man. I totally think, I feel as though it's programmed. What we're talking about is a program. Feelings are programs. So what it comes down to, this breaks down to that penultimate thing. Nothing that I say or do, nothing that I create, and nothing that I am is me. I am so much more amazing and greater, and I will never be able to express my awesomeness, and I know that you will never be able to do the same for you because of all the awesomeness that you bring. And no matter how much you try in your life to express it outwardly, you'll never get to the point of what you're really trying to accomplish. And that's not a bad thing. The thing is that you're doing. It's like, here's the best, my best analogy. Let's say we spoke flower. We could speak in flower. And I want you to go up to a rose and be like, yo, Rose, I want you to tell me how awesome you smell. But Rose is going to be like, I just smell me. What do you mean how awesome I smell? I don't know any different than me as a rose. How could I express to you that I smell good other than I know I have a fragrance? Some people seem to like it. Do you see where I'm getting at there? Where it's like you're like to try and let me really pin this down for you. In the statement that we are not great, in the sense that, like, I believe that, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I mean this in the most honest, realistic, self-evident way. I'm not that great here. I'm not meant to be great here. No matter how much I push myself towards greatness while I'm here. But I do know, indubitably, that there is greatness that I am and that I'm connected to, and that this meat sack is transmitting outwardly. And I know that I'm connected to something way outside of this thing. And that thing to me is the penultimate ultimate that could never be expressed. And so in turn, any amount of expression that comes out of the thing is it just being itself. Does that make sense? Like, it's a flower being a flower. It's going to lose its petals. It's going to die. It's going to come back. It's just a flower being a flower. It's the beauty of the flower. It's the beauty of humanity. And to try and pinpoint down any one thing that makes us, this is why it comes down to the question, like, how much do I add onto myself, or how much can I take away from myself to find me? The answer is, you could go as deep as you want, you can go up as much as you want, and you'll never find you. You'll only find variations of you, but you won't ever find the ultimate penultimate you, because that's something that is a cosm of all of us together. Because we are part of God, right? And God is everything and all, and we are a spark of divine creation, yet we are not really separate from that creation while we're here, yet we are, because we're here, but we're not, because we're still connected. Weird finger to God moment, Michelangelo. That's kind of what I feel like. We are the spark between the fingers of God and humanity. We are the breath, the I don't know, like the all the things that become moments of awesomeness for life. A spilling of an ice cream cone, the licking of a dog of your ice cream cone, the hug of a lover, the eating of the most amazing soup. They become like these amazing explosions, and all of them are the culmination of what humanity is. Not any one piece can be us, and so therefore none of us are special. All of us are. Does that make sense now on some weird level?
Yeah, I think you've landed somewhere.
And that's what I was trying to express. No, because this is my problem, Elliot. This is my problem. This is my problem.
Just being with
I know, I'm with it, man. But what I'm saying is that because of it, I'm turning into a transhumanist. I'm starting to agree with these weird eugenic style ideas. I'm starting to agree with ideas that are totally against what we hold as what we would believe as being self-evident as what is humanity. But after I just gave you that whole thing, I'm not sure anymore. So that's what I leave you with. Because I totally understand where you're coming from. And I absolutely feel the same way. There is something that I also have this other, I think, this idea that once we cross the threshold of this weird fifth iteration story that I told you about, that we stop and we go, oh, dude, what is it? Remember, what is it to be human? And so we create this thing that we're living in so that we can remember what feeling and touching and smelling and all of these things are, as a way to fix the push that we went too far in the other direction, if that makes sense. Like, oh, we went too far with technology, we need to come back to spirituality. And somewhere within this spot, we find this thing that is a creator that creates everything at once at all times in all dimensional spaces and places, and yet we somehow are trying to communicate with that through this thing called technology. E.T. phone home. Straight up. I think that that's what we're trying to do. I know it's the weirdest thing in the world, and it's a little offset, but if you join me on my crazy, and I'm happy you came today. Seriously, Elliot, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you today, man. I really, really, really do thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you.
I hope you had fun with me.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I would love to have you on again sometime, and I would love to, whenever you have a new project, or if you have anything that you want to promote, or even now, tell people where they can find you, or stuff that you're doing, or projects, or whatever, and I'll even post it up on the internet now so that people can see it.
We've actually started a little improv group online called Bombs of Milk and Honey, and it's got
Bombs of Milk and Honey. Is that what you called it?
Yeah.
Hold
so
on,
if anyone wants to do some improv, they can get in touch with me.
But so is this online? It's like an online thing?
Well, no, we just started a group online. It's you know, you have to be invited, but if anyone wants to do some online improv, because it's myself, I'm based in Tel Aviv, and I'm working with a Palestinian colleague. We've also got like a diverse
Got
bunch
it. Milk and honey. Love it. Got it. So it's called, I don't know if I did this correct, but a bombs of milk and honey. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's actually, it's not yet an Instagram handle. You'd have to, but that's the name of the group. But you'd have to contact me, Elliott Actor. So it's LLT and Elliott Actor on Instagram.
Yeah, I think we have all of that on the. Let me check on the front page of this. So like the description is what you give me as your bio. That's how I
set up that Instagram now because you put the thing up. So that put me.
Yeah, and then also prior to the show, what I normally do is I put up a post that says, "Hey, today at certain time, this person's going to be on," and then usually about an hour or two or so from that post is when I usually go live. So I believe I'm looking now. Yeah, so here it has it says everything about you. It talks about it's the bio that you sent me, and it has YouTube, the ex Zabalou.
It has my Instagrams.
Does it? I think it has Instagram Elliott Actor. It sure does, and it says Instagram Aleph Crew as well. And the place of healing. You know what? Let me just pop all of these on here really quick. I'll just do one. You know what?
The Palace of Healing.
Is it the palace? Please forgive me. The Palace of Healing. I will do this and go like this and go here and go like this and go boop and then bam. There we go.
Yeah.
We got. So there we go. We have all of your information up on the screen. So anybody who wants to find you can. Anything else you want to talk about or say or tell the world how you feel?
It's been an interesting journey. I feel like some of it I got this download from you. Like you had to like exchange a lot of this information. So
yeah.
I value that. There's a lot of food for thought, and I think
it's kind of the podcast
I think there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of layers going on, a lot of things in play, and I think we always sometimes just got to. I'm speaking for myself as well as for whoever I'm speaking to, but to really try and find the core of things. Well, where's the inner child in everything that we're doing, and how can we find the true authenticity? I think that's for me, the running unspoken deeper themes that have been going through this dialogue. Where's the authenticity of ourselves as human beings, as creators, creators where we're not cyborg, we're sitting here as humans, and we can create and go and write an amazing story or write our next adventure just through our own intuition and our own volition, our own beingness.
Yeah, man, it's so beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, I think that we get to be here and we get to do it is kind of the best part. Like just getting to do it. Failing, not failing, winning, not winning, famous, not famous, none of it matters. What matters is that we got to be it. Like we got to do something. Like, yeah, because the opposite of this is
the feeling of being able to create is, I think, the ultimate freedom. It should be an enshrined human right.
Yeah, getting to be somewhat like what it might feel like to be a god, and when you create your own thing, like in the sense of like, and I don't want to be sacrilegious in that.
Fellini said a film director is the closest way to enter into competition with God. Maybe
that's great.
Maybe everyone's directing their own movies now. They're all doing their little edit of their reels and whatnot. So that's why everyone's gone a bit mad and a bit narcissistic in the selfie situation. other than that, you know, I think there's a lot of people waking up, and there's everything's kicking on.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yeah, it's good. We're in a good space right now. Like I said, you know, everything's happening the way it's supposed to happen, and I love where you come from, Elliot. I love the idea of
we had a little clash of worlds here, so I
no,
think that was
it's gorgeous. That was that.
delve into that.
Yeah, it's the whole idea of this. That's the whole idea. I like to play a little devil's advocate when I talk to people to have some fun.
Yeah.
It makes it interesting. But it's also, and I'm not just playing devil's advocate. A lot of the times there's real. Right. I really am asking like intimately deep questions that I'm having myself, existentially weird questions that I'm having myself. So, because I feel like maybe other people are having them as well. Maybe I know I'm not the only one. So, you know, Elliot, again, I want to say thank you for your time.
You know, what the fuck is going on? All right.
I don't know. I have no idea. I just know that I'm here.
Big thumbs up.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, man. Shalom, my friend. I'll see you soon, okay?
God bless you.
All right, man. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much again. Oh, my God. Episode 57. Amazing. How? Because Elliot was here. And because every episode is a person writing their own movie. And getting to be part of that and getting to see how they make their movie and how they connect and all of it. That's what the show's about. And that's what it's been about. My friends, if you would not mind, please, please, please go out to the world, do something nice for somebody else. And if you can't, do something nice for yourself. It does start with you. Number 2, don't get caught up in all the crazy stuff that's going on, because if you do, then you end up crazy and you're not good for you or me. No, it's not good. And number 3, if you would not mind, please like, share, subscribe. Send this out to somebody who'd like to see it. From my heart to yours, I truly appreciate you for watching. Thank you very, very much. I will see you all on the other side.